Welcome to The Mighty Dragon. Today's guest is producer Patrick Wirtz. Patrick has worked with my previous guest, Deborah Richards, on many projects, including the feature Move Me No Mountain. In this podcast, Patrick shares his knowledge as a producer. We touch upon the role itself and how projects develop from concept to completion. Patrick offers insights into social media strategies, industry trends, and how the role of a film producer will evolve in the future. With their next movie, Scissor coming out soon, it was a great time to catch up. Hello, Patrick. How are you today?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Really good, thank you. I'm sure Las Vegas is much more exciting than the UK at the moment, which is getting very dark and gloomy.
Yeah, it's still sunny here. It's still sunny. You still can walk around in shorts and t-shirts. Yeah, that's true.
No, I'm so jealous, although that doesn't stop anyone walking around in shorts and t-shirts here, believe me, and flip-flops. Just wanted to ask you a few questions about all of the wonderful posts I see from you and Deborah on your various filmmaking projects. How did your career in filmmaking begin?
Well, yeah, it's interesting you ask that. My original career was in urban and city planning and academia. Yeah, but then I've always been interested in films, from blockbusters to what we call foreign films, films from around the world to documentaries and the visual arts too. And I became an editorial photographer here in Las Vegas for local media companies, for the local magazines and newspapers. And there, it was an easy segue into video and filmmaking, particularly as the advertising dollars for magazines, started to dry up. And so you just weren't getting paid for the same amount, for the same projects anymore. I mean,
yeah.
So I started, I had no idea where to start except for, some contacts, people I knew did, basically wedding photography and wedding videos and stuff like that. I go, let me just start at the local college here. The College of Southern Nevada has a film program where, anyone can join, and it's great. I suggest anyone who wants to get into filmmaking, who doesn't have any idea how to start, if there's a local college that has a filmmaking program, why don't you start there? They might have, just like the College of Southern Nevada did, amazing gear that, I couldn't afford at the beginning,
Right.
Other students who are interested in learning how to make movies. And so you have instant collaborators right there too. And yeah, I started working on I made my own films. I started working on other people's films. And then through contacts, other students, I began getting production assistant jobs on big budget projects that came to town, like The Hangover Part 3.
Oh my God. I love those films.
Exactly. I mean, they're so much fun. And the one Hangover Part 3 was set back in Vegas. And so, a lot of companies are coming here to shoot, over from California, which is right next door. So early PA jobs, I got hired as a director to film a feature-length documentary on community colleges. Why is fund them, particularly for students who might not have the family experience or the grades to get into a regular four-year college. So it was basically a documentary called No Greater Odds, where you should fund community colleges for these reasons. And we had great success with it on the educational conference field, all the educational conferences, not just in the US. We went to Washington, D.C. and showed it at the Library of Congress to congressional legislators who are on the education finance committees. We had great success with that. And that got me an Emmy nomination. And it was an incredible job, incredible project. And I don't think it's available to be viewed yet, but I think they are going to eventually put it on streaming. So it's called No Odds. During that time, I met Deborah Richards.
Yes. I love Deb. She's so lovely.
She is. You've interviewed her before on your podcast.
Yes.
She's just a consummate filmmaker. She was basically at the same stage I was, although her technical skills were, at this level of the screen. So it was like a no-brainer to want to start working with her.
Right.
First we did a couple short films together, where I produced it, and we produced Dark Lights, our 10-minute horror short. Empire short, which got a lot of, we got a lot of good awards for her amazing work on the special effects and cinematography. And anyone could watch it if you go to our website, 1905films.com,
Yeah.
get a link to watch our 10-minute short that really gave us the confidence and the notoriety in a good way to make her first feature film, We Know Mountain, which we filmed. We did the pre-production starting in 2021. We filmed October 2021, and it finally came out this past spring on streaming. You can watch it on Amazon Prime or Tubi right now. And that was our first big major feature film, six-figure project, Yeah, that led us to our second project, another feature-length documentary, as you know, about Fleur Bartek, Shaken and Stirred.
Yes.
And we're in pre-production for our third film together, which is a horror film called Scissor.
Oh, I cannot wait to hear about Scissormouth. It has everything already with the title of a great horror film.
It's great. And anyone can go to 95 Films and see links to like teasers or the trailer to Movie No Mountain.
Yeah.
5films.com. Yeah.
For people like me who are not quite sure what the producer does, can you just give us a general overview of the responsibilities of a producer?
Sure. Yeah. Well, basically, it's very simple. Producer is responsible for overseeing a creative project over the course of its lifetime, inception to release, and beyond that. There's many types of producers. An executive producer might just be someone who gives enough money to make the film.
Right.
Hands off. Just here's the money. Do it. Do it.
Yeah.
Making the movie. A line producer, which is my strength, is the person who supervises and coordinates the actual production.
Right.
Filming. This is definitely my strengths, from getting locations and necessary permits to doing all the call sheets for each shoot day, figuring out what the props and the craft services to feed the cast and crew are. How do you get them to the set? During the filming of the different scenes, what is needed, what are the logistics behind every scene. But, it's like a big puzzle piece, and you're putting them together to make this incredible puzzle, which is the final movie. But of course, producers also help with overseeing the entire, creative team, the director, the cast, the crew, the people in post-production, and financing, the budget, the business operations of the film. Very important point. The producer is, the buck stops with him or her. They have to make sure the film is within budget and on time, on schedule, because otherwise, it just becomes a mess, as from all these movie horror stories you hear.
Yes.
That's extremely, extremely important. And last two things I just want to throw out is that they're in charge of post-production. After the film's principal photography stops, there's still the editing, the color grading, the color correction, the sound design, working with music supervisors if you have them, if you're bringing in outside songs, even the credit roll, the scroll at the end. I mean, someone has to oversee that. And finally, the release, distribution, and marketing of the film. So,
my gosh, it really is, isn't it? From end to end. Oh, I thought it was really financing, and that was it, but it isn't, is it? It's so much more. What is your approach to developing a film from concept to completion?
Okay, that's interesting you ask that, and I think there's several steps I take, and I know other people take. Maybe not in the same order, but roughly this is the order. First of all, what is the creative vision of the filmmaker you want to work with, and what is the movie you want to make? You're going to be spending a lot of time, a lot of energy. No matter what the budget, it's going to seem like a lot of money to make this filmmaker's vision come to life. So you better have an idea of what that is if you want to devote your time and energy and money to it. Two, the second thing is, let's see the screenplay. It all starts with the screenplay. That's why we had the WGA strike over here in Hollywood, because you cannot do anything without the screenplay. Screenplay will give you clues, okay, which leads to the next step. Is it doable? That's very important. Know what your budget is, know what your resources are. Obviously, well, I'm gonna talk about this a bit later, but before, CGI and artificial intelligence, it's AI, all these AI tools, I could not make Godzilla versus King Kong. You know, I could do it with puppets, but I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
make the movie that the big studios make. So you have to be honest and look at yourself. Okay, what are the resources? How many casts do we have? Can we get the cast? Can we get the locations? Is it within our budget to actually do it? And I just want to throw this out. I had this guy come up to me, a filmmaker who made these small films, and he wanted to know if I can stage. This was about 10 years ago. Stage an elephant fighting scene. He wanted two elephants to be fighting. And I go, well, yeah, a studio can if they have the budget, but I can tell you, I don't have access to any elephants. I don't have access to elephant trainers, and basically, this is a pipe dream of yours. So yeah, you never know when these, you got your vision and you want to see it done, but yeah, you got to be realistic about it. Um, then next up after the screenplay is you got to break it down. That's very important. One, number of actors. Can you get the actors? Do you know what kind of, what characteristics do each of them have? Are they older? Are they younger? What race maybe? What ages? What types of personalities they can convey, for the characters? Number two, locations. Number of locations. Which locations? How accessible are the locations for your cast and crew? I mean, there's all these great locations, but if you can't get your cast and crew there, it's a moot point.
Yeah.
Props, anything required for anything like special stunt work or like driving. Driving could be a stunt, it can be a stunt too. Can you get the props you need and the set design you need? It's tied to location, but it's very important when you first start breaking it down that you're going to need these props. You're going to have to rent these. You have to find them. What is the status of each of the props that you will need to make your film? Then you got to figure out the number of shoot days and the days of principal photography, for each scene, how long it will take you to shoot each scene, what cast, what crew do you need, obviously what the location is, and not only can you get the cast and crew there, but can you bring craft service, the food to feed them there? Is there a reliable or close source for them to go, we eat and we go to the bathroom? Can they,
Yeah.
can you do that? That's one of the great things about studios, that you can always, everything is right there, but if you're on location, you have to find, okay, is there a nearby bathroom for people?
Yeah.
Can you bring it in to the set? We had a
Right.
trailer which had these facilities on some of our shoots for some of the scenes. And actually, what I do is I put them on index cards with color coded markers. Each scene, what each scene requires, how long it will take for each. You figure it will take for each scene to film, and then you
Yeah.
just shuffle them around to figure out your shooting days. And then
Right.
so eventually you got a whole board, or a whole table filled with index cards that you're shuffling around to figure out, okay, we could shoot this on this day, we could shoot this on this day, blah, 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 blah. And then, once you have that tentative breakdown, and it is, it's going to be tentative at first, you got the production starts to branch out. Casting. If you have a casting director, that's great. If you're doing it yourself, you got to start knowing where to submit. Hey, send your headshots to here, knowing where, hey, put out the casting notices, the wardrobe, makeup, set design, finding the props, getting the locations and any permits you need,
Right. Gosh.
collecting the crew. You have to start collecting your crew. I mean, it's great if you've worked with people, and so you already have an established crew there, but sometimes they have scheduling conflicts. They have other jobs they got to do or personal stuff. So you got to find alternatives to them. And that's always have like a B plan. Always
Yeah.
find people you can hire if something happens to that crew member, and they can't
Right.
on that scene.
How about if you've got children on set as well? I guess there's a whole other set of rules for that, isn't there?
Oh, exactly. Obviously, you need to have their parent, at least one parent or guardian, on set too, and
Yeah.
that when you're making the decisions, you're making like your basic logistical decisions. Like even like feeding people on the set, you have to feed that guardian too. And there's obviously regulations. You can't put them in various situations, So yeah, so we had two, as you know, in Movie No Mountain, we had two child actors, and most of the time their moms came on set, and luckily they had done other work before, so they knew what to expect from a set and from a crew, and they were very professional. So yeah, so that was great, and the moms knew how to, handle situations too, how to handle their kids, and it was great. Yeah, and I just want to say after this, once you have everything, all of that, everything, hopefully everything will fall into place, and you have to schedule the shoot dates. Like for Movie No Mountain, we started the screenplay, Deb started screenplay, I believe in February 2021. We were doing pre-production throughout the whole spring and summer. And then we set the shoot dates for the first 21 days of October. And then you just got to trust, if you're well prepared, if you feel you're well prepared, trust that things will work themselves out.
Yeah.
And then, as a producer, you got to prepare the call sheets for every day, the shoot schedule. We found a program called Studio Binder, which we loved. Shoot schedule, and then the call sheets, we just threw out some stuff in it. We didn't have to do it from scratch. It was great.
Yeah.
Up to all the relevant emails. Then during the actual production, you have to make sure the cast and crew get to set. Some people might not have the transportation, so you have to,
Right.
I've got a carpool. We'll pick you up we'll pick you up at the rental house and take you to set. Yeah, so and then for me, the process is the post production. Principal photography wraps. I remember that day. It was actually 2 days ago.
No way.
Right. And it was great. We were on the edge of town overlooking Las Vegas Boulevard, where it ends at the desert, which is
Yes.
see the strip way in the background. It was sunset. Airplanes like fighter pilots flying overhead. It was sunset. The day was falling. We finished our last scene. We had a tight crew. We had only our main lead, Jenna, walking away into the desert from that scene, and go to a Mexican restaurant next to celebrate. It was just such a relief. After that, you take a week, you take a week off,
Yeah.
decompressed, and now a post production's got to start. It's a
Right.
whole new schedule of editing, color correction, talking with music supervisors, talking with your sound people, getting the sound design done. Yeah, and also scheduling pickup shots, because your movie is not going to be done at the end of principal photography in terms of shooting. Probably not. So as the movie is edited, you realize, okay, we need to do this scene. This scene is necessary. We need to shoot this object. We need to shoot this object because it makes the story. People understand the story better if we shoot a close up. And so you got to start scheduling the pickups. It might include the actors, bringing back actors. We brought back Kat, our lead, Kat Israeli from Ohio, to shoot some scenes. Nick, who played her nominative love interest in the movie, we had to bring him back. To shoot some pickup scenes just to make things more clear to the audience.
Yeah.
Once that's done, you have the finished film. Actually, you should be doing this even before the film is finished. You got to find a distributor. You got to find ways to figure out how you're going to get that film to the public.
Right.
We went to the American Film Market, which happens, as if you know, the American Film Market, which happens in Santa Monica, California, is, if you have an independent film, that's where you meet with distributors face to face.
Right.
To try and find a nice fit for you to get your film out there to the public. There's the Cannes Film Market.
Yes.
It serves exactly the same function, which happens at the same time as a film festival. But hopefully that's not when you first meet the distributors. I mean, we had already made contact with many of these distributors before we actually went there, and we actually had two contracts already to mull over. We actually went there, and then it was just a matter of saying, "Hey, how you doing? Remember us?" And then we got more offers there. We weighed them out. Yeah, and now we're in the final. At least for Movie No Mountain, we're in the. Ever since it came out in spring, it's the marketing stage, and just figuring out how to get it in front of audiences. We're going to start YouTube ads pretty soon.
Wow, great.
How to attach them to relevant videos towards the subject matter. There's Facebook ads, obviously social media ads is the best for independent filmmakers to start promoting their film. We don't have for television network ads. So,
Yeah.
so yeah,
I
finding
really love sorry, I really love the Instagram shots that you guys upload for Move Me No Mountain. And it's so nice. It just keeps it in your head about this film.
exactly, yeah, it's constant. It's just constant. We shot it 2 years ago, but it doesn't end. As long as we want to get it out there in front of the public, it's not going to end
Yeah.
until.
Can you provide an example of a challenging situation on set and how you resolved it?
Well, probably the most interesting, like for Moving the Mountain, I mean, was when we were filming in the tunnel in Las Vegas.
Yes.
We were smoked out by a meth addict who was basically making meth. Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. I had picked this time. Unfortunately, Las Vegas has a serious issue with homelessness, as much as
Yes.
and that's one of the reasons why we made Rubino Mountain, to show all these reasons why people become homeless, and it's not just
Yeah.
because addiction is a large part of it for a lot of them, a lot of people who find themselves unsheltered, and so we were filming in a tunnel where many Las Vegas homeless people live. We have over 800 miles of drainage tunnels beneath the city, and at any one time, a couple thousand people are living in them.
It's crazy. I still find that amazing.
It's amazing. So I picked this tunnel because it was far away from the center. And when I'd done my scouting, no one was living there. But when we were actually filming, we had chosen this location as our film location to shoot. There was someone living at the other end. And at first he was, clearly, he wasn't of of sound mind at the time.
Right.
Screaming at us, which we weren't doing much sound at the time, so it was great. We picked that up on the recording, but it was still a little unnerving, And then we had on set a person who works with one of the charities, with one of the organizations that helps the people who live in the tunnels. His name is Rob Banghart. Shine a Light Foundation, Las Vegas. They do amazing work. Not only he used to live in the tunnels too, and now he's director of operations, I believe. So they know exactly how to talk to the people who live there and how to service their needs. So luckily, we had him on set for a little cameo role in this tunnel scene. And at first, he was able to go there to the other end of the tunnel and talk to the person, and that calmed it down for a while. But he had to go back to work, or he had whatever issues, so he had to leave the set. And that person, got agitated again, and they started, starting the fire to make the drugs, and it was going up towards us.
Right.
And Deb, bless her heart, she's a director. She wants to get the scene done. It's just another annoyance. But I go, no, we got to stop. This isn't good. This breathing. We can't breathe this. Some of our crew members were like, no, this isn't good for the cast or the crew. Let's stop it. And so we had to finish our scene. And, when are we going to, we had a tight schedule. Obviously, everyone has a tight schedule. How are we going to redo this? We're going to have to try and fit it in later. But in an amazing coincidence, the fire department was doing exercises not too far away. And they came and they hosed out the entire tunnel. I think they called police.
So lucky.
To call police to deal with the other side, to deal with the person causing it. We had to grab the stuff, grab the gear, grab the set. We had to grab everything out of the tunnel and run out before it was closed down by the fire department. And eventually, that situation sort of took care of it by itself, but we just had to wait it out. And then we just had to wait for it to dry. And then, okay, now it's safe now, the smoke's gone. Looks like, so we had to go back and reset up everything. Luckily, it wasn't that too complicated. But our schedule for that day had to be extended. But we eventually we got the scene. Scene, and it didn't cause too much disruption in the operations. Luckily, we had if I had known there would be a person there, I would have, hey Rob, can you stay all on set? Here's some money to help, put it as part of the budget. Um,
Yeah.
because we could have done that. We could have done that. But we didn't expect this situation to happen. But
Right.
again, it's sort of work yourself out, but you got to think quick, and you got to, even if you have to
Yeah.
stop, rush everything out, make sure people don't leave because people have schedules too.
Right.
It's like
Yeah.
you gotta deal with some one-on-one to say, hey, can you stay a little bit longer? Can you find a way? I can make some calls for you to reschedule stuff.
Yeah.
Um, Actually, we got the scene. So, but that was a really exciting.
That sounds fun. How do you select and collaborate with directors, writers, and other key team members?
This is all about networking. This industry.
Yes.
It's basically, if you don't know them, you ask your friends if they know them, and if they don't know them, you ask people who you trust, who you've worked with. Hey, do you have a sound editor? Ours is working on another project. The ones we've worked with. It's all about networking and asking people, like Adrian Leon. He's a local filmmaker here. He shot his movies Kindred. You can watch it free on Tubi. It's a great psychological thriller. He
Right.
finished the film a couple months before us, and he was instrumental. Hey, we need a great makeup person. Who did you use on your film? And he got us in touch with Ashley Ballou, and we've been using her since projects for commercial projects too, not just our film projects. Just because she's so talented, and it's just trusting your other filmmaker friends to give you advice on who to work with. And once you develop a relationship and a rapport with people on your crew, you just want to work with them again and again and again. I mean,
Yeah.
that's basically, it's all about networking and asking your friends.
It's who you know, isn't it? What strategies do you use to secure funding and financing for a film project?
Okay, because we're dealing with what would be considered low budget, even micro budget. Although moving amount went above the micro budget level. It's basically the first thing you gotta do is beg your friends and families. That's the first thing. And then you ask them to beg other people that they know.
Right.
Honestly, that's it. We did crowdfunding campaigns.
Yeah.
But that it's going to be your friends and families who contribute to that crowdfunding campaign. And it's basically a lot of you getting on the phone, not just writing emails to people or, putting out social media posts. You got to actually talk to them in person or, at least on the phone and say, hey, I got this film project. Are you interested in contributing to it? I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of people, feel, oh, that's like a lot of begging but
Yeah.
honestly, how else are you going to raise that money for your film when it's not like equity crowdfunding? When you're dealing with some big investors who want to invest in a film, who have an ownership contract.
Yes.
These basically, when you're at the low budget end, it's people who are making contributions to you. Although we did. Obviously, to make Movie About, we had a higher budget, so we had to get executive producers who own, a percentage of the film, of the profits that come in, of
Yeah.
income that comes in. But that was, for us, it was basically, who and then, hey, this is our film project. Can you believe in us or not? But it depends on the project too. If you're just starting out, there's a lot of grants. I mean, we looked at a lot of grants too, but there's a lot of grants for documentaries. There's a lot of grants if you're a female, if you're a woman in filmmaking who want to
Right.
see female-centric films coming out, or specific targeted audiences. Well, there'll be grants for that too. For African American films, for Native American films. Definitely look online to see what kind of grant opportunities are out there. And grants, they don't have equity in your film. It's like a contribution. Definitely check them out. Some of these grants are for thousands of bucks. So
Yeah.
take a look at those sources.
Yeah.
And then, of
That's
course,
great.
there's a whole bunch of other sources. I mean, if you look, you can look online. You can talk about tax incentives and again, getting equity crowdfunding from larger investors. But if you're starting out, you're not going to have access to the sources, unless your name is like Spielberg or Coppola,
Yeah.
which that network. You're already in the network. If you're starting out, you're going to build upon your next project. I can tell you right now, financing for our second project, Shake and Stir, was a lot easier to obtain once we had Movie No Mountain complete. Having a completed film really changed the ballgame for us, because a lot of people talk about making a film, but actually having a film completed tells
As
people.
as in a feature film completed.
Not necessarily a short. That's your first step. But
Yeah.
You completed a feature film. So many people don't get to that stage.
Yeah.
It actually says, okay, you actually did this. You got to start working with the networks, obviously. But there are outside sources. We had we had one product placement in we got a little money from product placement.
Right. Interesting.
A wine you've seen two scenes. Yeah, Ramona Ranch Wines in Southern California. It's a wonderful local vineyard. It makes wonderful like rosés.
That's a really interesting angle to financing, is the product placement.
Well, you look at the big budget films.
Yeah.
What using all those cars for probably free. And maybe all those cars that get crashed in Fast and Furious. Even
Yeah.
they crashed. Those companies want their names out there. It gets in front of people's eyes.
Yeah, true. How do you stay updated on industry trends and changes in the film business?
Okay. First of all, you got to read and watch the industry trades. Variety, Hollywood Reporter, Deadline. I have a subscription, thanks to Deb. That was her Christmas present to me.
Oh.
But they're online too. Tons. If you look at, here's the thing, you can watch tons of YouTube videos put out by these sources too. I was just watching a great Bloomberg recently had a video up where they had a Netflix, the CEO of Netflix, Ted Sarandos, on discussing, how he thinks pricing is going to change, and because it's how the market is changing for streaming, and how there's going to be pricing tiers for certain projects.
Right.
So not just the one lump sum you pay now, because streaming, that's the whole reason why we have the strikes. How do you make money out of streaming? And what's great is that also you can make sure you watch contrary views. You can, on YouTube, there's a lot of independent film commentators, and some of them are just, wackos, and some of them are just fans who are upset that their film didn't get made this way. And so you have some discretion, but there's some film commentators that can really get to the point of, this is why this movie worked or didn't work, and here's some of the reasons behind the scenes. Some people are actually in the industry who are making these YouTube videos and video channels too.
Right.
And you can learn a lot from if you're reading the trade papers, you're only going to get the industry's point of view,
Yes.
And that's, and sometimes I read an article, I go, oh, okay, they're trying to defend this, or they're trying to, this is obviously the studio's point of view, obviously.
Right.
So got to get all these independent. It's great getting independent views too, and actually, you got to search from social media, particularly YouTube, to find legitimate independent views that can help you out. Make decisions.
Great. How do you see the role of a film producer evolving in the future?
I see overall getting the role of overseeing the completion of a film, from overseeing the life cycle of a film from conception to completion, is not going to change. Obviously, that's what a film producer does. But there are certain changes in technology that I think are going to upend the industry. They already are. They're already starting off. I mean, that's why one of the reasons why we're having the strikes now.
Yes. Yeah.
If you're a producer, know the latest, what's going on in both in CGI and AI. They are making it. These technologies are working. Stuff that would have been scenes that would have been prohibitive to first-time filmmakers or people at the lower end trying to go up, just a year ago, or just a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
It's much more accessible and cost effective. If you're interested in animation, know what's going on in AI now, because I've seen these animated shorts that are just look like they're just absolutely amazing. And
Wow.
it's some 17-year-old kid, whiz kid, who
It's
knows
mad, isn't it?
knows the prompts, who knows the technology, who knows how to use it, and
Yeah.
it's like, boom. Yeah, animation particularly, I think is going to be most immediately affected. I mean, who knows
Yeah.
what right now, what kind of projects are being made, in that field that are going to just capture the public imagination and just blow people's minds away, And there
Yeah.
was this small team, or maybe around the world, wasn't even in daily contact with each other, working on their computers. I mean,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
It's
Um,
super exciting, isn't it? That's so exciting.
but if you have a vested interest in the old way, it's also scary,
Yeah.
because how am I going to fit into this now?
Yes.
So you see, there's obviously going to be some sort of resistance to everything, But I'll let you know how AI has already changed us. We're in post-production for Shaken and Stirred, our Flare documentary, and just basically 3 weeks ago, we started using a technology just came out where a documentary, you have hours, if you have over 100, 120 hours of footage. How do you, before it took, as for a documentary, it took forever to get through all that footage and to
Right.
transcribe it. But now all we can do is just take a scene, hours of footage of one person that we interviewed, that we did with them, and press a button, and the entire conversation will be transcribed in a matter of minutes.
Yeah, that's crazy. I've seen that on Adobe. Yeah. My God.
All we have to do now is just look through put in a keyword where they talk about a subject matter, International Bartenders Association, boom, boom, boom. And it'll go directly to where they talk about it. And we can just click and paste from the text, and it'll take the video footage with it.
Yeah.
You know how long that would have taken, beforehand, going through hours of footage just to find it and keep on scrolling back and forth to try and find it. Even if you have you get the numbers there, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. That's going to change. That's going to change budgets. It's going to change the scheduling, because more time means money. The more time you have people working on a project, on their job, the more you have to pay them.
Yeah.
It's going to change. It's going to change all of that. Yeah. And then also, obviously, a producer has to understand more and more how social media works. Keep abreast of what are new. I mean, we didn't have to worry about TikTok with Move Me No Mountain or Shake and Stir, because I don't think, particularly for Move Me No Mountain, I don't think our audience was on TikTok.
Yeah.
But for a horror film, for a horror film, which has a very young audience, a very female audience for horror films is, like majority female, actually.
Yeah.
TikTok, we have to be on TikTok, and find your audience early. Don't start your social media and your marketing after it's done or while you're in production. Start during pre-production.
Right.
We started our Scissor Mouse Facebook page. We'll develop it, but we got to start. You got to start even before you have the project going, just because you got to try and find an audience right from the start instead of trying to find it after the fact.
Yeah, amazing. What piece of advice would you give to anyone following in your footsteps? Although you've given so much advice already.
That's it. I mean, obviously, how keep abreast of what I was talking about, the new technologies, but knowing where to start in the first place, you got to start. If, say, you're like me, okay, I want to start exploring films and making films. How do I start? I have no experience. I had some experience. I knew people, and I was a photographer, so but a lot of people are in my boat. Where do I start? And first of all, know what projects you want to work on. What you like to watch. Who do you like to work with? I've always loved independent films more than I've loved, watching. I've loved Jaws and Close Encounters and Raiders of the Lost Ark and all the big budget stuff when I was a kid. But I really loved small independent films too. So it was a no-brainer for me to want to work on projects with talented filmmakers like Deborah Richards, just because these are the kind of films that I'm making like right now.
Yeah.
Movie about this kind of movie I would have watched if I wasn't involved in it. So yeah, and know what sources you have at the beginning. Know what kind of movies cost money. Even shorts cost money. Know what resources you have around you. And then 3, again, try a local film program at a local school. They will have people who already have experience, at least making it on the low budget level, that you don't have yet. They will have equipment and access to computers and programs that you can play around with and figure out what you need for your own projects. They will have other people interested in making films too. So you already have your collaborators for your first projects. My all our production assistants originally were all people, my whole crew is actually in the beginning were people I worked with in film school, and then it started to branch out. But yeah,
Right.
the ones that did will be your fellow classmates, first people you work with. Yeah, and then I'll also ask, pay attention. Again, filmmakers are like, I want to make this movie. I want to make this movie. Pay attention to the budget. From our experience, 1/3 is production, 1/3 is post-production, and 1/3 is marketing and social media. Don't think, think making the movie is all production. Filming. Yeah, once you get it done and then, that's it. No. I'd say it's only about 1/3 of the budget. To raise the level of your product, 1/3 should be devoted to post to make sure you got the best sound as you can, the best maybe of some special effects. There doesn't have to be explosions or anything. It could be just making a scene look better, taking out some stuff in the background that you forgot when you were originally filming it, that you just take it out and the scene just looks better composed now. Special effects too. And then again, 1/3 for trying to promote it and trying to market it. I mean, that's why these big studio projects have such huge marketing budgets, because even if they have a big established intellectual property IP, you still got to get it in front of people to know that there's a film coming out.
Yeah. Wow. 1/3 on social media and marketing.
Yeah, I would say 1/3.
Wow.
We're
That's a shock.
we're at that stage in Movie No Mountain now, and we got to start putting the ads out on YouTube. We got to starting ads in Tubi too, where we're already shown. So yeah. So if you're a filmmaker, just starting out, don't give it short shrift. Start thinking about your social media early, even before you start production, and devote a significant chunk of change to that when the film is finished too.
Great. Here's your last question, Patrick. You will be pleased to hear. What have you got coming up?
Okay, yeah, this is great. As you know, we got Movie No Mountain is on Amazon and Tubi. Shaken and Stirred, you can watch the teaser. It's the first feature-length documentary on flair bartending. First, the people, you can see a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of TikTok videos on people flipping bottles, but it actually has a very fascinating history where one time, competitions, flair bartending competitions were international in scope, and the prizes went up to tens of thousands of dollars, $50,000, with thousands of people watching and clapping. It's amazing. It's amazing. The history of flair bartending is actually quite amazing. Some of the top names, top champions in its history. We follow 3 local Las Vegas bartenders who are flair competitors now as they prepare and compete for a competition in Florida, and what the results were. It's exciting. I just want to mention our filmmaking partners. There are 2 people well known in the field, Rob Houston and Dean Cerneals. They have so much historical footage. Deb has got the filmmaking skills. So we've put together an incredible film that Deb is editing right now. I'm really excited about it. The teaser is also on our 1905films.com. And you can follow us obviously on social media, Facebook and Instagram, Shaken and Stirred, the documentary, or Shaken and Stirred, the movie. And we're in pre-production for a horror film we want to call it Scissor Mouth. It's exciting. I don't know how much Deb has talked to you about it, or if you talked to her about it yet. But
it has been mentioned, but I don't know too much about it. So enlighten me.
female-focused film that focuses, whose theme is the cost of beauty. You know, what is the cost of beauty? It's another female-focused film about a relationship between a mother and daughter, and the effort people put to be beautiful. And what does it mean if you're not beautiful, or if just the various aspects related to that. But again, it's a horror film, so if we deal with some of the more extreme aspects of that idea.
Yeah, I found that quite.
I just want to say you can watch the teaser too on 1905films.com. We're very
Great.
proud. We're officially going to promote it on Halloween, but coming up, next week
Yes.
we're really excited about that film. The screenplay is amazing. Deborah's screenplay is probably her best screenplay yet.
Really great. Oh, I can't wait to see that. I love a horror film. I'm one of those women in that category you mentioned earlier.
No, I think everyone's going to enjoy it. Anyone who loves horror is going to enjoy it. But I think it touches on certain themes that I think women have had a strong response reading the screenplay. So
great. Thank you so much for sharing all of your experience and advice. It's absolutely been one of the best interviews ever, specifically because I'm a writer. It's really good to understand what a producer is looking for in scripts, and also what considerations that you have while you're doing your job, which I would have a heart attack in just one day of your job, Patrick. I could not do it.
Just think of it as a puzzle, just a puzzle in real time, just putting the puzzle.
Oh, best of luck with everything that you're doing and all the continued success. And I cannot wait to see Scissor Mouth. I cannot wait.
Thank you. No, it's gonna be a movie people remember. Totally.
Absolutely. Thank you, Patrick. All the best, and please come back to the Mighty Dragon anytime. Okay. So long. Bye.